Rent to own is a contract to buy a house. The buyer is going to rent that property from usually 1 to 3 years and pays an upfront fee as a down payment. Now that fee could be paid all upfront or partially monthly. It's usually 1 to 7% of the purchase price. There are pros and cons to it. I would say there's 3 main pros. The first one is it gives you time to build credit. So if your credit is not great and you sign 3 years to rent this property, and after those 3 years you're going to buy it, you got 3 years to fix your credit, and you better fix it, because there are cons to this too. The second biggest pro is you get to live in the property before you even own it, so you don't have to worry about renting somewhere else and moving all your stuff and worried about how this property is going to look, because you're already there. The third biggest pro is you're not just throwing away on renting, because when you rent to own, part of that monthly payment is going to go towards the property's purchase price or any fees associated with it. So you get some kind of credit that you're building towards home ownership. Now there are some cons too that I mentioned earlier. The biggest con is if you don't qualify for a mortgage loan after those 3 years, then you lose your rights to that home and the money that you've put up to that point. The second biggest con is you're going to be paying higher monthly than you would for just renting or just owning, because you're going to pay rent, but on top of the rent, you're going to have the ownership fees associated with like the contract for rent to own. The third thing is you could lose your right to ownership if you miss the payments or if you're late on the payments. And the biggest con is if you agree to pay X amount for this house and for some reason the market plummets and the house is like worth down here, right? But you agreed to pay this much. After those 3 years, you still got to pay that, what you agreed to pay. So that's probably one of the biggest cons. But yeah, that's pretty much it.